a fire needs oxygen to keep the flames going. And if you cut down the oxygen on that fire, you'll see the flames decrease in size and number and ultimately will go out. That's what happens with the heart with hypoxia.
And so let's talk about this case for a minute. Based on your review of the materials that you just kind of talked to us about, did you reach any opinions about what the cause of death, Mr. Ellis's cause of death was?
Yes.
And if you need to refer to your report, feel free to do that. Can you tell us what your opinion is as to what caused Mr. Ellis's death?
Yes. It is my opinion that Mr. Ellis's cardiac arrest and death on March 3rd, 2020 was due to restraint asphyxia. I don't know if we've defined that term yet, asphyxia. Asphyxia is when you're making the respiratory system, the lungs, incapable of functioning normally. And that respiratory compromise led to hypoxia, inadequate oxygen, and ultimate cardiac arrest.
Now, and so with respect to Mr. Ellis, what did you determine was the cause of the asphyxia?
My assessment was that as a result of being in prone position, meaning lying on his abdomen on a hard surface, restrained with handcuffs and hobble restraints on the legs, and with weight applied to his chest and torso from officers being on top of him, that resulted in asphyxia, inability to have the lungs provide the oxygen that was necessary to sustain life.
And you said you relied on the observations, too, of the paramedics and the information contained in that Exhibit 24, is that right?
Exhibit 24 is?
Oh, I'm sorry, the pre-hospital care report?
Yes.
That we looked at just a minute ago?
Yeah.
And what information from the scene and from those sources told you that Mr. Ellis's death was a result of the hypoxia as compared to being a primary cardiac event?
Well, he was in a position, prone, restraint, compressive force applied to his back and torso. There were complaints that Mr. Ellis offered about his having difficulty breathing. There were comments from the police officers in their testimony, their interviews and statements, indicating that there was a change in the pattern of Mr. Ellis's breathing, and ultimately what was referred to as agonal, A-G-O-N-A-L, breathing, which means breathing that is ineffective and is a late stage of respiratory failure prior to cardiac arrest. Then the information available from the pre-hospital care report, the observations by the paramedics, and the sequence of loss of breathing, complete apnea, A-P-N-E-A, meaning no breathing at all, which was documented, and then loss of pulse, and the EKGs, which showed a pattern entirely consistent with hypoxia causing cardiac arrest.